this meeting of the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee to order. I welcome my colleagues as we consider legislation to try and find a solution to the patchwork of biotechnology labeling laws that is now disrupting the interstate flow of agriculture and food products in our nation's marketplace. Before I begin, members should be aware that it is customary with business meeting, all members will have the opportunity to give opening remarks. I also note that our committee rules require a reporting quorum to be present when voting to report out a bill. Out of respect for your demanding schedules, once we have reached a quorum, I intend to ask members to hold their opening statements so that we may proceed to consideration of any amendments in the underlying mark. I know that Senator Leahy has an important engagement, and the distinguished senator from Iowa will be going to the White House at 10:30. Good luck. Today's meeting is an important step in considering legislation related to agriculture, biotechnology, and the labeling of food products. Members will recall our hearing late last year when we clearly heard from the three agencies tasked with regulating agriculture biotechnology: the Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Food and Drug Administration. I want to emphasize their work is based on sound science and is the gold standard for our policy decisions. Our government witnesses at that time highlighted the steps their agencies have taken to ensure that agriculture biotechnology is safe. Safe to other plants, safe to the environment, and safe to our food supply. It was clear that our regulatory system ensures biotechnology crops are among the most tested in the history of agriculture. Since that hearing, the U.S. government reinforced their decisions on the safety of these products. In November, the FDA took several steps based on sound science regarding food produced from biotech plants, including issuing final guidance for manufacturers who wish to voluntarily label their products as containing ingredients from biotech or exclusively non-biotech plants. And more importantly, the Food and Drug Administration denied a petition that would have required the mandatory labeling of biotech foods. The FDA stated that the petitioner failed to provide the evidence needed for the agency to put such a requirement in place because there is no health, safety, or nutritional difference between biotech crops and their non-biotech varieties. Thus, it is clear that what we're facing today is not a safety or health issue, it is a market issue. This is really a conversation about a few states dictating to every state the way food moves from farmers to consumers in the value chain. We have a responsibility to ensure that the national market can work for everyone, including farmers, manufacturers, retailers, and consumers. This patchwork approach of mandates adds cost to national food prices, in fact requiring changes in the production of labeling of most of the nation's food supply for a single state would impact citizens in each of our home states. A recent study estimates that the cost to consumers could total as much as $82 billion annually, approximately $1,050 per American family. Now is not the time for Congress to make food more expensive for anybody, not the consumer nor the producer. We all know that today's farmers are being asked to produce more safe and affordable food to meet growing demands at home and around the globe. At the same time, they are facing increased challenges to production, including limited land and water resources, uncertain weather, and pest and disease issues. Agriculture biotechnology has become a valuable tool ensuring the success of the American farmer in meeting the challenge of increasing yield in a more efficient, safe, and responsible manner. Any threat to the technology hurts the entire value chain, from the farmer to the consumer. Now, I also hear, and I understand, the concern from some of my colleagues about consumers and available information about our food. Some consumers want to know more about ingredients. I can assure you the most effective tool consumers have to influence our food system or to know more about food is by voting with their pocketbooks in the grocery store and supermarkets. The Chairman's Mark puts forward policies that will help these consumers not only find information, but also demand information from manufacturers. However, it is important, as with any federal legislation on this topic, for Congress to consider scientific fact and unintended consequences. Simply put, the legislation before us provides an immediate and comprehensive solution to the state-by-state patchwork of labeling laws. It sets national uniformity based on science for labeling food or seeds that are genetically engineered. This allows the value chain from farmer to processor to shipper to retailer to consumer to continue as the free market intended. Within 2 years, the USDA will establish a national voluntary standard for foods that are bioengineered or may contain bioengineering. Under the rulemaking process, the Department of Agriculture will be able to consider comments and other factors from a variety of stakeholders. This ensures uniformity in claims made by manufacturers and will enhance clarity for consumers. Increasingly, many Americans have taken an interest in where their food comes from and how it is made. Under this mark, within 4 years, the Secretary of Agriculture and the Secretary of Health and Human Services shall submit a report on the availability of information regarding whether a food is or is not bioengineered. This voluntary disclosure of information could be available through the use of the new national standard, other existing USDA authorities, or a variety of other voluntary means. Additionally, the mark directs the Agriculture Secretary, in coordination with other federal agencies, to engage in a consumer education and outreach effort. Information will be science-based and related to environmental, nutritional, economic, and humanitarian benefits of agriculture biotechnology. This addresses the concern expressed from members on both sides of the aisle at the hearing in October about a need for more consumer education related to agriculture biotechnology. Now, on this issue, I have worked in good faith with our distinguished ranking member to try and reach an agreement. We both share a goal of passage on the Senate floor, and I will continue to work with Senator Stabenow and others on both sides of the aisle to find a solution that brings certainty to the marketplace on this issue. Now, I'm sure you've heard, time is of the essence for not only the agriculture and food value chain, but also consumers who together face the wrecking ball of this patchwork of state-by-state mandates. Last week, we all received a letter. It's in your packet. It's at the end of your packet. This letter, supporting the chairman's mark, signed by at least 652 organizations, 652, representing the entire food chain. Never before have we seen such a coalition of our constituents all united behind such an effort. Their message was clear. It is time for us to act, and it's time for us to provide certainty in the marketplace by approving the mark before us today. I appreciate the support of those on the committee who will join me by voting to approve this legislation and moving us closer toward enacting a bill that solves the issue on the floor. I now turn to my colleague, Senator Stabenow, for her opening remarks.